All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm going to do the intro for a little bit of an introduction. Ray's got a new mic, so he's going to sound a little bit different. And if he sounds louder or quieter than me or the game, please feel free to tell me in Discord for all those that do that anyway. Second thing is that we've played 50 and 51 since we have last recorded a retrospective, which means if you're watching this and you haven't played the game, which I don't understand why you would be, but if for somehow in some reason you're here now and haven't caught up, please go do that because we're going to be talking about a lot. Like if there was the biggest spoiler in Oot ever, this would be it that we're going to start talking about and
Yeah,
comparing
yeah.
things.
This. That's not like a hyperbole or exaggeration or any of that. No, no. This is like the one twist that you don't want anyone to
Yeah.
know going in.
So please go do that. And yeah, chapter 7, Bones. We can go ahead and begin. And we get Ashley's perspective. Be really fun.
Man.
Speaking of Ashley, next arc.
Next arc, yes. Sarah, have you seen them? Jamie's with. You know what? It's been so long. My brain is slowly correcting to where we actually are in the plot.
Right, especially after
After 50-50, like god damn it.
It's hard to remember this is kind of
Like
the same
you're just
game.
looking at just even Ash, and now you're examining every line just to see how many triple meanings they have.
Oh my gosh. We're not gonna, again, that's what 50 and 51, the actual playthroughs were for. We're not gonna, go over 50,
We're not gonna go too
51
much.
again,
We'll mention it, but we're not gonna go. Yeah, we're not gonna go crazy.
I'm sure there's gonna be some stuff where we're like, oh, well, that was clearly there. Not. And Ashley, of course, being super worried about
Underboob, the deadliest of all boobs.
yes, and YouTube's fine with that, so we're good.
And YouTube's fine with that. Side boobs. Tasteful side boob. Tasteful. Yes, I mean, all joking aside, we get a little glimpse into Ash's mindset here, where she's comparing herself. She's comparing herself even again to anyone that's around. Like, she is perennially the girl who feels like she is, at best, third or fourth place behind those around her.
I do actually really like the little one-sided war she has with Sarah at the beginning. It is really funny.
Poor Ash, engaging in a swimming competition against an aquatic fae in
human
form. Nice little musical touch here, though, for some thunder exam. And that's actually our dear girl there on the left, Haruki. One of her earliest appearances.
Yeah, I didn't realize that she was in.
Establishing her as part of the swim team even that early.
Mm-hmm.
Ash has quite a few of these sort of introspective sort of things where she thinks about how she wishes she was.
Actually, this is really great that we're doing this right now because a lot of the Ash moments here are gonna probably
a lot
of things going on to her art.
This whole sequence with Ash directly speaks to one of the new descriptor we have given by Hayato for Hebe. Which is the chase of ideals.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley is surrounded by people who, in her mind, are the ideals of various things, and she's constantly chasing those things. She wants to be as elegant and beautiful as Jamie, as Vic, sorry, as clever and funny as Jamie, as refined as Leia. Like, she's constantly looking at those around her. But even her greed for CJ is antagonistic. It speaks more to someone, I think, who just wants his attention. She just wants to feel like he sees her, even amidst all these other incredible people. It's a very interesting attitude for a shard of a goddess to have. I know she's very distant from her goddess, as you know, but it's just very interesting that that's the attitude. Not many goddesses come to their power from a place of feeling less or being less than those around them, you know? It's an unusual approach. I mean, you get like Greek gods and goddesses who, of course, are jealous, angsty, evil, kind of all that sort of crap. But that's not what Ash is. She just wants to be more than what she is, you know.
I do like the Ash earrings, the Cupid earrings here. Very interesting.
Yeah,
you don't really see that anymore.
And the cat collar,
and the cat collar either now,
which is a callback to how her original character design was cat as an Ash cat. It was Ash as a cat girl.
It was the Ash cat girl. Yeah,
Ash cat girl. Yeah, she was intended as the very one of the first early design drafts. Had her as a cat girl.
That's the secret. She's always gonna. That's her final
that's
form. That's the final form. Is Catgirl Ash. EB.
The story Anon phone found, which puts us all
PTSD. What's going on?
No more revelations. Please no.
You're not becoming God. You're just dehydrated. Get out of my way.
Sarah here wingmanning her beloved CJ pretty well, and providing some, I suppose, solace to Ash.
Mm-hmm.
Who's feeling a little...
I mean, come on. Pretty normal Sarah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's super nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it kind of shows you, even at this point, that Sarah's dynamic is always about making things better for CJ and those adjacent to him.
Oh, look, the gang's all here.
The gang is all here. Or they would be with technically Mizzy is here.
I mean, we're not including future characters.
What do you mean future? Mizzy's always been here.
Yep, there she is, right
there. She is.
There,
that's literally how this works, though. Like when she comes back,
I know
she's basically here in people's memory. She's always been here. And Ash being pouty and adorable, and she knows that's how she kind of gets that kind of attention, though. Like, as much as she doesn't like being being the smallest and all that stuff, but she can't help but play it up, at least a little bit. It is part of what makes her very adorable.
And then, of course, her immediately be like, "Well, I was just kidding."
Yeah, because there's not really a negative bone in Ashley's body, like at all. She's very, very pure of heart. Arguably the purest of heart out of all of them.
Right? Well. I mean,
Teresa is right there, but
I don't know. It's really hard with Teresa. Oh, look, the gang really is all here.
No, the gang really is. Well, it was already here, right?
They were there all along, dude. Her eyes look so
well, this is when Kieran is full crow right at this point. And isn't actually Kieran.
I know they aren't, but dude, her eyes look so fucking gray right now.
It's a little bit. This isn't over. Her little scheme did not work as she hoped.
It's not over. It was totally over.
It was always over from the start.
It was always over. It never even began, as Anon likes to say.
Because there are no beginnings and there are no ends in the wheel.
Oh my god, yep, the wheel of suffering just continues to go on and on and on.
See, Ash is providing the calmness and the love and lightness that everyone was needing after such a, like she said, like Jamie just said, after an emotionally exhausting time. A dose of normality, because, well, that's not going to last very long. Yes, Vic. Obviously, you know, she's feeling now that she could express her her kindness and her affection for CJ more easily.
Man, everybody looks so happy.
This is gonna last, right? Everyone's gonna stay happy forever. Right, guys?
No.
Anon wouldn't put them through more pain than they already have, would he? He wouldn't do that to them. It says a lot that everyone's just supportive of them doing that, really.
Yep, the beginning was very yeah, I mean that still kind of is the I mean everybody's still that way.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, it shows you how the perception
still
was that. Yeah, I mean, everyone did seem to like. It comes clear that everyone was like, Vic and CJ are like a thing, even before he left. That was the perception, right? That Vic and CJ were basically, if in function, if not in name, a thing.
Ah, yes. Thank you, Jamie.
Jamie is a curious mixture of overt masculine attitude and incredibly feminine attitude, which makes sense when you're brought up as a dude.
She tries so hard at the beginning to be she tries so hard. She's like, knock him dead. And then she's like, oh my God, what's going on?
You can feel how awkward it kind of gets though. Like you can, like anyone other than CJ would almost certainly pick up on how forced it probably is.
Yep. And it's all because CJ is just not smart enough to get it.
I will kill you.
It's gonna be a running. It's just wait.
I know it's never gonna end. I know it's never gonna stop. I know that. I do. Oh look, that symbol's right on her nipple.
Thank you for noticing that, because I also noticed that, but wasn't gonna say anything.
Why would I hold back? Shame is for mere mortals.
Yes, because that of which you are not.
CJ just immediately breaking the ice. Just see, this is how CJ is, though. He just
he's just
knows what to say.
Blunt,
he just knows what to say instinctively. Man,
right?
I wonder what that could be the result of.
Man, it's almost as if he says the same thing.
He says the thing that they most want to hear or need to hear. Or I mean, is there a difference?
Well, hold on. It's probably need, right? It's probably not want.
Is it need?
Hold on. That's actually a really good question, because
yes, it is. That's why I asked it.
Especially in the later stuff, right? With like specifically Leah, I can think of the most. Like a lot of like, because you know the girls and the goddesses are the same, and what they want isn't always what happens, especially
what they want very rarely actually happens.
Yes,
if you really think about it.
So I would argue that it's what they need to hear than they want to hear,
which automatically
except
throws
for
into
fucking
question.
Vic, except for Vic,
well, I mean, just because I think that you could make a case there that because Vic is in the deepest, darkest hole because of her connection to Kione, maybe she's got to go through the roughest times to get out the other side.
Yeah,
like as awful as everything. It really CJ doesn't do anything to hurt Vic.
Out of touch. Oh shit!
But no, I don't think that's quite the case.
No.
Well, I mean, it's worth noting that CJ never he works really hard not to upset and hurt anyone, but specifically with Vic, his ability to read Vic is better than almost anyone else. Like he does, there are multiple times. I particularly recall one scene where he's talking to Leia on the phone about Vic, and Leia's just like, what's she doing right now? And Leia's just like, she's just started smoking, and CJ's just like, all right, yeah, she's cooling down now. She'll be fine in like half an hour.
Oh, oh my God. Oh my God. Come on. You think in your wildest dreams you'd think of a jackass like me? Ladies and gentlemen,
dude,
it was there the whole fucking
I've done a
time.
playthrough since, and there are so many lines like this.
It's
just
so
scattered throughout the story.
Fucking nuts.
And I swear to God, if we could have counters as we do, we should do for these refreshes, we should just have a counter, like a non son of a bitch counter. where we just count the number of times he drops lines like this. And it's
Yep,
Anon,
look at it
you
in the
son
top
of a
right
bitch.
right now. Anon, son of a
Right.
bitch counter. We're starting from right now, but if we were to start from the beginning, it would already be a number I can't put on screen.
Right. God.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's so many of these right from such an early point.
Oh man, nothing's happened to
Never
imply
gonna
that
leave
this.
you.
Yeah, nothing's
like
happened
you
to
did
like.
when he tries to run away in 5051. Oh
I'm never gonna
boy.
leave you good. Never. Huh? Weird. Kind of weird because it sounds like you did. Oh fucking poor CJ. Poor Vic. Poor everybody. Everybody just
Nobody can
gets the
fucking
shaft.
win, dude. Like, yeah, no one comes out.
You know
like,
who wins at the end?
Crow.
Not us. Oh, it was a 100% Crow victory. Oh my god.
Not in the way that Crow particularly intended or wanted.
It's not the way that she wanted it.
Except it was, because it was the way Kieran kind of wanted. By the end, at least. But still. You're part of my family. That's all that matters. Like, the thing is, these lines could
like
come.
This really just remind me of Kid CJ attitude. I mean, seriously.
Which is how he sees. Remember, the goddesses called each other sisters at times.
Yeah.
I mean, family is the best fit word. Like, a lot of polycules call themselves a family unit, even if it's not.
Sure. No. I wasn't. Yeah. No, I agree. The way he says it was making me think that the family part. Yeah, I get.
Yes.
Like, what do you call a? I mean, other than a polycule, what do you call a group of people? A family. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Families,
yeah.
Just,
yeah. With that level of intimate connection, even if it's sexual or platonic. Seeing you guys hurt, I can't stand it. You are always so empathetic, she says, Victoria. Like, again, if he's drawing directly on them...
And then CJ being dumb again. Oh, what's that mean? Never mind. It's okay, sweetie. Don't strain your brain.
We're
gonna add a little Rayze rage meter.
Rayze psi meter is what it should be. The Rayze psi meter.
What is up with that response? Can I ask you something? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but it's really important to me, okay? Uh-huh.
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 Yeah, uh-huh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What am I to you? See, it's the answers to these questions that are going to haunt her, because, like, after what we learned in 51...
Oh, man, yeah.
Does he mean what he says in response?
Right?
Was it just what I wanted? Did I make him? So, like for someone with Vic's issues, this is the worst case scenario.
I know. We're talking about it. So it's going to be really interesting because everybody else is going to get like what happened told to them. Everybody else that wasn't there is going to get told by Jamie what happened and all things, or by CJ what happened. But
it's going to be at a remove.
Vic's going to have Vic's going to have experienced it all, so she's going to be on the same page that CJ's at, right?
Not only is she experiencing
she's
it,
just gonna
she's experiencing it all
this.
from CJ's perspective as he goes through a complete mental and emotional and spiritual breakdown. Like, he's not
maybe
just.
We don't have enough faith in our girl. Maybe she'll be. Maybe she'll be really strong.
Not. Like, she's come a long way. She has come a long way by.
Right?
The time 50-51
I think what's
around.
throwing us off is that scene where she's like, "Why did you tell me that? Why did you want me to be a bad person?" And we're like, "Oh no!"
And the scene where she's channeling the other scene, she's channeling Keone, where she's all like, "You know, I've done this to you. This is me, isn't it? I've done nothing but cause you pain, and now I've done this."
And there's fucking lines like this, but their fate had been intertwined, never to be separated again. Light peanut rattling in an empty can.
Damn you, story Anon.
Impossible. He thought about it. I love this because every
yeah, but here's a take I have
been
been thinking about it because I knew that you would do this. So here's a take. That
me? You can't blame me if it's in.
I'm not blaming you for all
game.
of it. I just know that you would bring it up. Let's think about this is a genuine theory. Okay, what if?
He gets smarter as the game goes throughout. I kind of
does,
agree.
But let me give you an in-world reason for why CJ manages to do that.
Sure. I'll be serious.
So let's take it from the perspective that CJ is a creation of the four goddesses, right?
Okay.
And then what happens with him as when he gets the whole sequence with Thundercock Jr., all that sort of stuff, it's him basically being awakened as a spiritual entity.
Sure.
And all that sort of jazz. Okay. What if his seeming quotation marks stupidity or airheadedness, however you want to put it, what if that is a result of the fact that he is more under their influence, if unknowingly at that point? And then as time goes by, as he gains more power and the bonds improve, he actually becomes more independent of that control and more himself. And therefore, like, there's none of that airheadedness anymore, because that airheadedness was a product of...
That actually does make a lot of sense. With a lot of the stuff we've seen, we
right?
haven't seen a whole lot of young CJ with, like... But a lot of, like, how CJ acted with Hughes with his mom. Like, one scene in particular kind of fits into that, where she's like, okay, what do you want for dinner? And he's like, ice cream. And she's like, cool. That's the only thing you've ever said, ever. It just really, kind of does sound like, you know, like the base CJ just only has one response. And then,
I mean, bear in mind, we're not even sure if CJ had a, like, whether he was created, right? Was he? Did he have an accelerated growth period between the age of like 0 and 5?
Definitely more under the impression that he had like just like existed at however old. What was it, Jacob?
Well, Stacy says to him, yeah, I would agree. I think he came into existence at the same age as Jacob was when Jacob died.
I don't.
Because she says because Stacy says to CJ in that sequence you were talking about with the ice cream that it was the last 187 times, as if. So she has counted the days that she's asked him what he wanted, and that implies, admittedly, it's not confirmation; it's very soft,
right.
But that implies to me that possibly as long as he's been able to been here to ask.
No, I mean, I agree. I definitely think it's... I mean, I don't feel like... I don't know. I don't feel like Anon would include that without there being a reason. It seems like a pretty good reason to me to include the days of, like, how many times does my little kid ask me what I wanted to eat or what he wants to eat? You know? I mean... Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yep, and this is just, you know, of course, foreshadowing.
Yes, this is an important moment.
And everybody lives happily
ever after. No, but
Shrek full page like that, whatever fucking happened.
But this is an important moment of acceptance for Vic after everything they've just been through with her, because it's such a huge weight off of her to have the idea that it wasn't what I thought it was. He doesn't hate me for it, and then to have acceptance on top of that is a big deal. And then we're on a little date.
Yep.
This is one of the few things you can do where you can miss.
Is this the? I thought there was an official date that we go on.
Is there another official? Yeah, but this is part of it. You have to do it all.
Do you? We'll kind of speed through here because I mean,
the only thing we'll click through.
Well, because the only thing you miss out is a fun scene between them two, but we don't share that here, so we don't really care. I didn't realize I already have to blur some stuff for this episode, so yay.
Yeah, you know, Anon sneaks in the nudity on you.
Yeah, towards the earlier stuff, it's not very blatant. It's just kind of there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is mostly just character building and building their relationship, and
because we haven't even gotten to the. Oh my god.
Yeah, I told you have to do them all.
Yeah. I mean, do we care? We care, right? Okay. All right.
Yeah, but this is Victoria does reveal some stuff here. They're talking about how she met him, and even a bit about Leia as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a rare moment with CJ talks about his mom a little as well. He doesn't do that often. See, even then she mentions going with Leia.
And TJ does actually bring up a good point. It's like, sure, maybe we could skip town, but they've got people here. Yeah. Which, again, is another thing that we've talked about in our just randomly about, like...
conversations, yeah.
In-game stuff. We're like, okay, well, what about everybody else? You know? Kind of... interesting. Oh my god. We don't have to run away from things for things to get better. Jesus Christ, CJ.
I mean, he does practice that up until that point, and I cannot blame him because
Yeah, no, I can't, but it's just really funny.
it's in a dark kind of way. Yeah, like it's like, oh, CJ,
Yeah, it's
my
like,
sweet summer
we can't
child.
just run away from things for the, you know, you better, yeah. Man, we need past CJ to talk to future CJ here. Dude, what's going on? Don't you remember why we're doing this? Also kind of funny. If Vic wanted to leave, he'd be hard pressed to say no because he couldn't. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man. Yep, that's an. I'm gonna ding. Yep.
I mean, I just like this because it's a very casual thing, but it does feel like two people reconnecting,
Yeah,
which is not something you often manage to get.
I love these
Feels
earlier
very
scenes.
organic.
I love these beginning scenes because it really, like, it doesn't jump into anything too fast. I think that's a reason why people didn't like the beginning of Oot, because it wasn't super fast, and that's what they were looking for. I really do like this.
I mean, but a lot of
up.
AVNs and the AVN sphere, people expect to get something that will scratch that itch really quickly. I mean, arguably that's why part of why the prologue was put in was because people needed
Right?
a more obvious
man.
hook.
Super interesting thing to talk about. So whenever I first played the game, Prologue wasn't in it. I managed to get in and play before he added it. And then I didn't finish it. And then when I started playing again, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, they added a new Prologue. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, played it. And I'm telling you what, it definitely would have been different for sure. However, I will say, the beginning of Oot, I know Anon's like, yeah, it was my earlier stuff, and he redoes some of it. I liked the way everything looked a whole lot at the very beginning, and I really think that's what kept me going, and then I got into the really good stuff. So I don't know, I think Anon's a little bit too harder on himself whenever he's like, my older stuff.
He is, but then like many artist types, he's his own worst.
Well, I mean, it's not like I don't see what he's talking about. Of course he's gotten better.
Yeah,
but like,
I mean, and he has improved. Like,
bad.
there's no question. He's no question that his talent skills with the game with Koi have improved significantly.
Right. Well, and to be fair, at the very beginning of Oot, there was like that supernatural, like some shit's going on, especially with like.
Yeah, but before the prologue was included, it was very subtle. You didn't get the revelations of the supernatural.
We're talking about AVN watchers. Yeah, my bad.
Right.
I was like, I picked up on it. It's not that hard, and then you may realize, right? We're talking about the person.
And yes, my watchers, we are going full elitist here because that's how the Oot code rolls.
There's no way you're watching this and not an elitist for Oot. I refuse to believe
it. It's basically a calling card, but like it's just.
It's nice to be right about things all the time.
Yes, isn't it though? Just so right. Yes. God, we're just so right. But anyway,
just so right.
Just so right. But anyway, like it's a key thing for Oot that one of the key things that drew me, I will say, was that I really liked that the reveal of the supernatural came later and was a gradual thing. Like up until like chapter 10, you could make it until the full blown like spiritual stuff with Crow. A little bit further on from here, you could easily write off everything else as just dramatic license or some visual flair, or there is mundane explanations that would suffice. And I really liked that because I really liked the genre shift that came with it. But that's just my personal taste. I still like the prologue, and I totally understand why the prologue is there. It's a really good hook that shows people up front a good chunk of what they're getting from the story.
If you played through all of the beginning stuff here and then didn't like what it shifted onto for it to be more supernatural,
at least this way you've got fair warning. No,
I'm about to say at least you've got fair warning.
Jokes about elitism aside, I'm not like saying that everyone who prefers the prologue I'm not saying that they're stupid or weak. It's just my personal preference.
I am.
You're gonna go there? You're just gonna
No,
be that guy?
no.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I'm sure.
That's why
you
there's
heard
two
him,
of us.
everyone.
One of us has to
You
take
heard him,
midstream
Techno.
on whatever
Techno
issue.
is that guy. Techno is calling all of you who prefer the prologue simple, basic, and boring.
That's right. And everybody that doesn't like it is absolutely fucking base. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
I happen to really like the prologue, so I do like it. I just think that I don't know, I felt like if you paid attention, you didn't need it. That's my point.
No, but again, like,
But people don't pay attention, and it's just yeah. I do wonder, looking at all the locations here, like I know we've had some, you know, like the river is important. I think the subway's massively important, you know.
oh, it's Anon. It's going to be relevant somewhere.
Right.
Like,
but
and we do get a little bit where apparently there's some kind of weird spiritual phenomena with it.
Yeah, and then the fucking street corner, like the main street, like this just, I don't know. It's all gonna mean something. It all means something, Rayze, don't you know?
It all means something to someone, somewhere, and somehow. No surprise that Victoria.
No, this sets up the date. This right here sets up the date for the karaoke.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the karaoke. I remember.
Yep.
I'd love to sing for you, she said.
Okay.
What? It's old. You know what? It's euphemistic, all right? I was just trying to inject some levity.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I forgot. He held that dab for 2 frames.
I mean, it's CJ. He commits to the dab.
Yeah. Yeah. You never lied when it came to liking Maffins or not. Yeah, why would I lie? It's not in me.
Yeah, but
literally.
let's be just completely honest. Vic could wear rags after rolling in mud for an hour, and she still would look stellar. So.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah.
It's Alejandra, one of the very first LR characters, and totally not suspicious in any way, shape, or form.
What, herself, or what? What do you mean?
What, Alejandra?
Yeah, well,
Alejandra was working as she ran a coffee stand back when Stacy was in school.
uh-huh.
You don't find that a little suspicious?
What are you trying to get at here? Because I'm really not.
Don't worry about it. We'll get into it as we go through more retrospectives. You'll see. We'll get there.
Okay.
I told you things would work out. Guess it did. Most people never get a second chance.
Oh my god!
Like
There's
treasure
no
them.
way.
Her and the rest.
There's no way. I don't believe it. I think you're reading too much into it.
Yeah.
I think that's Anon you're reading. I think that's Anon you're reading.
Reading too much into Ood. You're gonna really condemn me for that, are you?
I think that's Anon speaking. I don't think that herself. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I'm right. I know. I
just agreed with you. What more do you want from me, my guy?
I don't like what I'm I'm hearing in the tone of your
What?
scoffs.
There's no tone? No, I wouldn't do that to you. This wouldn't be my petty revenge for the whole CJ stupid stuff. I would never
But
do that.
okay, here's the thing though, right? The author agrees with me, so fuck you.
Does he though?
He does. He absolutely does. He said you were
Okay.
wrong, Mr.
If Julia caught me
95%.
running around like a schoolgirl here, I'd never hear the end of it. I think that's a bit too late, my girl. You know, I think Julia was already well aware
Right.
of just how head over heels you are for CJ. Please you like a damn fiddle. Okay, this is a good question though. Does this is this proof that her elder sister is the most One-san out of all of the One-sans of Oot, considering Oot is One-san waifu simulator?
Yes. Probably.
So that basically means that by the rule of the One-sans simulator, we need to get her elder sister into the polycule.
It's not gonna happen.
That's how it works now. In my heart,
It's not gonna happen.
In my heart, this is how it works.
It's not gonna happen. We didn't get
I
K.
know
We're
it's
not
not
gonna
gonna
get.
happen.
We're not getting. No, it's over. Especially, it's not happening. It's not happening.
No. Well, jokes aside, there's basis for Haruki and Shiori, but that's about it.
I mean, Lindsay. Probably.
Well, Lindsay, yeah. You know how I feel about Lindsay joining. I think that's quite likely.
Well, I mean, you also think what's her name? Fucking Dragon Girl, Myrna. Is that what her name is?
Myrna, yes, the other Fae. No, that's just wishful thinking. I
Personal bias over
completely
there.
admit that Myrna triggers my must protect and treasure instincts, and she deserves to be with like someone who isn't Alan. Like, I don't hate Alan like a lot of people do, but he's not good for
to
her.
be with someone who isn't Alan. Just
Like, Alan is a fucked up dude. Like, we've learned enough now just by
Sure.
like he's a pretty messed up guy.
sure, but I
And,
mean,
like,
I don't disagree, but I just find it really funny that like everybody hates on Alan, and it's like compared to all the other bad shit that we've seen in this story, like Alan just being an asshole is like the
Alan
worst
just
thing
being a
for
bit
some
of a
people.
misogynist and pretty much just representative of the time period he came from is like, yeah, he's like, and yet he's seen as some kind of great Satan because of it.
It is really funny.
It is very.
It was so funny when I was doing my tier list. I couldn't, because it was back when I had just finished and I didn't remember what he looked like, because at the time we hadn't gotten all but maybe 2 scenes with him, like
Yeah.
2 like individual, like not back to back to back. I couldn't remember who he was, and so I asked, I was like, can someone please tell me who this is? And everybody was like, the worst person ever, literally Hitler. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? I don't
Yeah.
remember this guy. And they're like,
Yeah,
it's Alan.
yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I put him in like, I don't remember, so I'm putting him in like the C tier because I don't remember what he is. And now I'm like, Alan was okay, I guess. I mean,
He was a bit of a douche. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Like the way he spoke about her work being
guess
like
if we're
finding her in a
comparing-
brothel.
yeah, especially if we're comparing him to CJ, he's like a mega douche.
That's the
but-
big thing, though, right? Like he's meant to be another CJ, and he doesn't behave anything like the CJ we've known up until this point.
Which kind of, which does show that like the way that CJ is nice and kind, all this sort of shit isn't
Entirely
specifically-
natural.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not entirely natural. Which, of course, foreshadowing. Let's go ahead and put a little ding up there. But
Little ding.
I mean, it's. I guess it just doesn't mean that it's the other. I feel like the other CJs were decently nice, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rodell was very knightly, but he was genuinely good. He was just very lawful good, you know. And Seema seems like quite a nice person. Like he's done absolutely nothing to be suspicious, which is kind of suspicious in itself. But
Of course, you'd say something like that.
hey, paranoia's gotten me this far.
I mean, fair enough. I feel the exact same way.
Although there are some sus things around Seema and Baihi, as we will get to when we get to them in Leia's arc. As long away as that period is.
And this right here will just go ahead and this right here with how CJ says what he did, I just want to go ahead and point out I don't think CJ's dumb, because no dumbass is gonna be like, you knew I was crying, and then he was like, oh no, I figured you wanted a normal day. I'm like, people are so fucking stupid. Nobody's doing that. Like, if they're not doing it on purpose.
Yeah, especially at that age. If you're that age and you find your like
I don't
the classic thing to do when you're that age and at that level of emotional maturity is to overcompensate, right? It's to try and smother them with attention, and like that's what you do. But CJ, no, he's like, okay, you just need some normality. That's not a normal thing for like a 13-year-old to figure out. Which shows that Vic isn't really over it yet. Like superficially, like she's really happy that he's like, forgiven her, even though he doesn't see there's anything forgiven. Like, he picks up on that, but like,
yeah, this is gonna get talked about again soon.
oh yeah, there we go. I mean, I think there's at least going to have to be some real reassurance from CJ to Vic, but the question is whether CJ is going to be in an emotional state to provide it,
right?
Considering the situation.
I don't want to keep talking about it, but I'm like, dude, this next chapter is going to be fucking insane, because we're going right into Ashley's arc, and we're going to have to deal with all of her shit, whatever it is.
I mean, her stuff's pretty well set up by now. Like, I feel like her arc is going to be is going to be leaning a lot into.
I agree, especially. I do think it's going to be interesting how we're going to mix that in with the fucking alternate universe, sealed away with Ashley's own personal stuff. But I just next chapter has to get, or it's going to be a lingering thing where we get CJ to a point where he's like able to function, and then we'll deal with it at a later note.
I mean, we've talked a lot about big picture theories where we think things could go during and after Ashley's arc.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to get into that here because this isn't really the right episode for it.
I'm going to be completely honest. When it comes to after Ashley's arc, from what we've heard about, it's going to be pretty much like another arc with,
it's mirrored.
Harpo,
okay, so it's mirrored. So yeah, we're gonna have. So we get caught. We got. So yeah, we get. Also, we are in the. I believe, going by what I've been told, is that after 50-51 is a mirrored arrangement. So we're going to go back the way we came, as it were, in terms of who gets what arc. So the next person after is going to be Teresa / Orkso, although it's going to be possibly more Orkso's arc after, which actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because I feel like with the way, no, we're talking about stuff that's not relevant to what we're doing right now. Let's focus on.
We have I mean, it's up to you. We have time.
Yeah, but it's not really relevant. This is meant to be a retrospective.
I do want to point out this chapter's. I think it's the walking segment that's gotten us, but we're a decent way into chapter 7 here.
Yeah, the walking segment was always going to take a while, but yeah, there's a lot of this walking segment is just Victoria like giving more context and depth to her current emotional state, and CJ doing his best to try and pull her further up. Because it just goes to showing that like you can't just have like one emotional moment and then suddenly you're better or healed. That's not how this works.
Right?
It's not how people work.
He makes a good point.
But yes, this is Shuri Park, which is relevant to Cursed Girl, because man, does it pop up a lot with Cursed Girl in context and the gang in general.
What? I hope you have an important place too. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, omnipotent and narrator.
We'll find out later that someone.
He totally isn't Cursed Girl.
Yeah, right. Cursed Girl.
No, really, it's not Cursed Girl.
It's not. I know. The river.
The river. Just having a moment.
Right.
Referring to a scene that we'll get to see more of in Vic's arc proper, about what they got up to behind the bus shelter, as young kids tend to do. Teens flowering into having their first kiss. Adorable. Very Japanese anime. you want me to?
Fucking,
I want you to be happy, and
fucking
that's it.
normal response from a woman. Oh, what, you want me to get hurt? No, that's not what I fucking said.
But CJ just disarms it. He just parries
Yeah.
it by being honest. I don't care. I just want you to be happy. And it's like,
And she's like, oh, okay, of course you'd say that.
oh, bless her.
Oh, what if I wanted
What if
something
I
I
wanted
didn't think
something I didn't
ever
think I could ever
have?
have? He's just so pure.
Oh, and it's all over.
It's so over.
It's so
For
over.
Vic. I mean, I'll be honest.
For
like,
everybody.
like he's too perfect, and now we know why.
Yep. I mean, especially, I don't know. Looking back on it, of course, it's always gonna be like, I guess it kind of did make sense that CJ. It was weird that CJ was the perfect guy, but like, we were led up to believe that like he was literally like they were all destined for each other.
Okay,
I feel like it wasn't super.
Yeah, no. All jokes aside about it. I do believe what Hayato says, as ever, should be, even about this specific thing, should be taken with a big pinch of salt. Like,
I would love if Hayato was just
Hayato says to
fucking
CJ,
wrong.
Hayato plays on CJ's insecurities very directly by saying things like, "What makes you think that you could ever be a man that so many women could fall in love with?" And do you have like Dionysian charm? And it's like, yeah, actually, CJ is incredibly charming. Like, if there is one trait you would say on a surface level that CJ embodies, it's a kind of charm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I feel like Hayato is very deliberately invoking the idea that CJ is nothing but a puppet, as hard as he does, to undermine CJ's mindset. Like, I'm not saying that he doesn't have a point. With CJ being a creation of the Four as their ideal dream husband, that's fine. But the thing is that dreams, generally speaking, you're not in control of dreams. Dreams are ideals. Ideals are not fixed things.
Mm-hmm.
They are not locked down things. And if someone embodies an ideal, that doesn't mean they'll necessarily always do what you say. Especially if the perspective on what that ideal is comes from someone who is in love. Like, we naturally see the best in our partners, right? Like, that's kind of part of the whole being in love thing. So if he's a creation of 4 goddesses who are all in love with him, he's going to embody what they perceive as his best traits, which are all going to be slightly different but interconnected. And then you made a person from that set of ideals.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that he's completely a slave. It just means that he is going to embody those ideals, and the way he embodies them is what matters. And CJ, even at this early point, embodies a level of tolerance and acceptance and empathy that is like, it's staggering. But that's just a generally positive trait. Like, it's incredible how he adheres to it, but it's not impossibly unrealistic. It's just,
yeah, that's a good yeah. No, I think that's a fair point, because especially with Hayato, he was like, did you really think that you were the perfect match for all these girls? And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, but the whole entire story has been you telling me that I am. So, like, everybody's been like, you're all destined for each other, you know? Like, oh my god, you're just the perfect dude for all.
And it's worth noting that he
well,
doesn't push any of his relationships. Like, he doesn't lean into the idea that he's perfect at all. Quite the opposite. Like, look at the way he is. Like, the whole reason Leia ends up with him is because he specifically doesn't buy into that whole, oh, you're destined to be lovers forever stuff. Like, he applies no pressure to her. His whole thing with her is, I just want you to be you and you to be happy. That is literally all I want. If that means being your friend, if that means staying away from you, you just tell me and I'll do it. Like, that is what literally breaks Leia's reserve with him. And that's why he's the one exception to her being a lesbian, as loaded as that phrase is.
All right, I think that was it.
Yep.
Make sure.
Victoria.
Yeah, we're good.
I suppose we've already seen it though. Give poor Jamie a break. Why would Jamie need a break?
What? What? Jamie's
do you-
fine, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's just two bros having bro time together. What's the problem?
And then him was like, of course, Jamie can barely take care of himself. How I had to rescue him just the past day.
Uh-huh. Right. Now, we'll all be together now and after. See, I told you there was a kiss thing here. Thank you. I was right. Fuck you.
Wait, what? I didn't. What?
This is one of the flags. This is one of the flags you need.
Oh, well, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even realize this was a fucking option. I was talking about the date thing where you have to go walk her. I was talking about you have to walk her around during the
No,
date.
you need to kiss her to get that at the end of the date.
Mm-hmm. One of the very few options you get. So sweet.
It is. It's nice and sweet. It's a nice. It's a nice end.
Back when things were a little bit simpler.
A little bit simpler. A little.
Oh, come on. You know what I mean.
We've meandered so much in this one. We're just shooting the shit in this one, guys. I'll be honest with you. We are just shooting the shit.
Well, you know,
as we
the
get
earlier,
into-
like we've said in the, you know, when we started this, you've usually watched this if you play these chapters. We're not going to read everything out like we are trying to do with the playing the new chapters. You know, you've played these. We're doing you know, we're comparing things that we know now, that sort of thing. I don't need to read everything. And yeah, it's really fun to see what we missed out on knowing now what we know. And of course, Leah being right there right after. Yep, so simple. Who would have thought in several chapters we'll be fighting gods?
I mean, it's interesting that Leia does this with Vic, and she doesn't show any envy or jealousy of CJ.
Yeah,
Like,
because
she's
it's,
not like-
it's CJ.
But
Yeah,
that's
it
what
makes
I'm saying
sense.
though. It shows that Leia, for all of her many issues, is still
Yeah,
very caring.
did you really have to emphasize that? Her many issues.
I mean, I would say a complete willingness to commit genocide is a bit of something that's worth
But it's
some
so
intensity.
hot. I mean, come on.
I am not debating the hotness of Leia's willingness to literally wipe out the world for her loved ones. I'm not debating that at all. But let's be honest, it requires you to be pretty fucking messed up.
Yeah, it's funny though. No,
Jamie asked.
early,
brief
yeah,
Jamie.
early Jamie asked.
Early
Too.
Jamie asked. Yeah, see that? Yeah, we don't get a lot of Jamie asked this early. And this is Jamie. Very self-doubting, like she's.
Yeah,
even
I'm
right
actually really excited to go through her stuff at the beginning again.
now. Yeah, seeing how far she's come, among other things.
Yeah. Well, you know, I will say it'll be nice, at least for us to replay, because I swear to God, it's every other week people just bring up her arc with Hayato and everything that happens.
Well,
It's
I mean,
like,
yeah,
just-
because Hayato casts a long shadow over a lot. of
Right,
what we
but,
know.
like,
he's our primary
just
source for
so-
a lot of information.
Mhm.
As questionable as him being that source often is.
Yeah.
Plus the whole, you know, Hayato did nothing wrong stuff. You shouldn't throw away the things you care about, and I don't do that much.
Mhm.
He's stripping off from poor Jamie. Although it is worth noting that, like, the revelations of 5051 even have stuff, quite a bit of stuff about Jamie's role in things. Like, how the fuck did Hayato arrange for a fifth ring? Like, that's not something you just casually would be able to do, seemingly. like a cosmic
Well,
bomb that reverberates backwards and forwards through time, and he just had to force, and he managed to force it to happen.
does he
Not to
claim?
mention,
Wait, does I
not
can't
to
remember? Does he
mention,
claim that he does that?
yeah, he says that. Oh, 4 rings, but I just had to add a fifth. Like he says that specifically. He claims responsibility for the situation of adding a fifth ring,
Huh.
which is
Well,
super weird when
that
you
is
think
weird. I
about
guess
it.
that implies that.
It gets even weirder when you consider that means that him and CJ were supposed to have rings for each other because he would have
I
been
do
here
wonder. I
as
wonder about
Jamie.
that, and it makes me think like, because I did think about that in the past of like, what if? Because Jamie's always described supposed to be, he's all. Or, sorry, yeah, I was thinking of Haito there for a second. Jamie has always been attributed to be CJ's best friend, and I really do just
Mhm.
wonder if Hayato implanted that as like, I'm gonna be this dude's best fucking friend, and and this is how I get in. This is how
Yeah,
it
no, I mean,
happens.
and
Yeah.
we've said that ring relationships can be platonic.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So
I mean
it would make
that
sense as
was
a way of getting, and he does need that ring, that ring bond to set up the power trust stealing that was his original plan. Like his original plan was to unravel the goddesses and seize their power for himself, which was like hilariously not going to happen because he massively underestimated how powerful the goddesses were by so many orders of magnitude. It's a joke,
right.
but still, you know. And poor Jamie.
I mean, I want to just give Jamie the benefit of the doubt here. I don't. I don't. Maybe because he was living with Sarah forever.
But he
Dudes
has zero
don't.
inhibitions.
Dudes do not take
Did
clothes
they
off
do
in front of
anything?
each other.
Nah.
They do
I
not
think a
do
lot of
that.
that is to do with him growing up around Sarah, who
Yeah.
clearly has no nudity taboos. She
Yeah.
doesn't care about clothes. Like, she thinks they're cute, but she doesn't really see, like, the whole point
They,
of...
they fucking bathe together. I mean, it doesn't matter to her at all.
Right, he thinks I'm a boy.
Right? Her overthinking it and then being like, "Wait, did you bang her?" Nah.
Nah. Wait, really? Did you say something stupid? Didn't think about it.
Oh no, that
That
has
has
to
to
be
be
a
a
lie.
lie. Really, Jamie? Maybe he is that pure-hearted. Maybe you're the one with the dirty mind, Jamie. Did you think that? And if
And
recent...
then, bang, right in the CJ stupid. That would require a little bit more awareness than he possesses. God, you're so right, Jamie. God, Jamie, you've never been smarter. Let me go ahead and tell you. Well, I
Also
love
love
how
this. She's
I
my
love
friend.
how his face is like, you're fucking stupid.
Right, you're the stupid one.
Yeah, of course I like her. She's
Of
my
course I
friend.
like her. She's my friend. Duh. Dumbass. And then, dude, you are really special.
Dude.
Just
The gayest CJ's ever been. Dude, you are special to me.
bang.
And then immediately look away.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's just so self-evident to CJ.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, you are like special to me. Like, I mean, of course you are. He doesn't care about like the context. He's just like,
I do think a lot of the earlier stuff doesn't work if we think CJ isn't as like, because I agree. I know I make jokes about CJ being dumb, but I don't think CJ is actually dumb. But I think he does act like it in the beginning a little bit, and I think that a lot of the stuff like this doesn't work unless we're like, yeah, CJ's just acting like a dumbass,
yeah. CJ thinks about it. Thinks about it. Thinks about it.
To say the thought had never occurred to CJ would imply that any thought had dared cross his mind before. I don't really know, Jamie, because I don't think about anything.
That makes sense.
Why is this even a question? I do miss this.
But
I
it's-
do.
but
I
the
really
thing
do.
is, this-
I do miss
this
this
to me
little shit.
This to me actually does kind of
So
act
funny.
as supporting evidence for my little theory that he's just acting on autopilot.
Yeah, and it would make sense. And now he's like slowly gaining self-awareness. Like, Yeah,
right?
that makes sense. Why am I the one telling you this? Is this even a question? Ooh, but but you know, that whole, I know we're gonna talk about it again. That whole thing with like, you know, CJ running on autopilot, he helps Jamie out in the exact same way, and she has no, at this point, she doesn't have any influence over him. She's not one of the four that made him. I just really think that Hayato's whole thing of being like, you have no fucking control, everything's being dictated by the goddesses, is such BS because of Jamie herself.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I mean,
agree.
he's. I feel like he may well believe it. I feel like Hayato may well believe it, but I
Because
think his
Hayato's,
belief,
I make the joke that Hayato is
Hayato
right all the
believes.
time, but I think Hayato just doesn't fucking get it at all. Like,
Hayato is great at assembling information, but his conclusions are shit 9 times out of 10.
yep, he's like
Like
the
he's
anti-you. He gets everything wrong 95% of the
95%
time.
wrong. Okay, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but
That's
okay.
right.
But like,
Well, I
yeah, no,
mean,
like
you know,
because his conclusions are tainted by his emotional perception of things. He will always see the goddesses in the most negative light, and most of all, he will always present things in the way that is most beneficial to his plans. And he wanted CJ broken in 5051. He wanted to break CJ to the point that CJ would kill himself. That's literally what he was doing. He was talking CJ
yeah,
into suicide.
yeah.
And
I
you
mean,
do that by breaking people.
and to be fair, it's not like he didn't have like the evidence to support. Like he's like, yeah,
Right.
look, like
Yeah.
here's everything. It all makes sense. And you're like,
Yeah, his
you're
conclusion
right.
is valid. Like it's not like he's lying outright or it's impossible. It's not absurd. It's a completely logical conclusion that you could reach with the available information. If you
Hmm.
didn't know CJ as well as we the players do from seeing how everything has gone in person.
Hmm. And I mean, I'm trying to think. There isn't a whole lot of evidence other, like we know that the four created him, but we don't, I mean, we don't know
Yeah,
for
but
certain that
here's
he
a fun
has to,
question.
you know.
Here's a fun question. The goddesses are so mind numbingly powerful that even their unconscious and subconscious desires and wants manifest into reality, right?
Hmm.
Like that's
Yeah,
how the
yeah,
boss that's how their
that's how the other
shards
side
are
works. Yeah.
drawn to and that's how their shards are drawn to CJ shards. Even though they don't know when the CJ shard exactly is going to emerge, their shards over a series of generations will appear in the world and appear at the same time as the shard that they are bound to, right?
Hmm.
They are not conscious of that a lot of the time, as far as we can tell. Keone talks extensively about how she's almost always too late and turns up too late to find her
Yeah.
shard has already done the damage,
Yeah,
right?
I'm so glad we're doing
So,
this. It's gonna be such a good refresher of what
so,
they all say.
so it's interesting to note the possibility that CJ, if he is a product of them, he may not even be a conscious product of them. It's not like they consciously planned his existence and creation per se. He might literally just be a result of the confluence of all four goddesses' rings appearing on Cameron slash Jacob, and then that power coalescing into his creation when they killed Cameron and Jacob and they didn't get what they wanted or they thought they would get from
Yes.
having a four ring shard, you know? If you see what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I do. No, I do.
and if CJ was made by an unconscious act, then it
Well,
makes
but
it
they just
very.
seemed. It's really weird. There's a, like, I get, so looking at it from Hayato's perspective, I get why he came to this conclusion because there's a lot of things that fit and a lot of things that I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird why it ended up being that way. But I just like the goddesses at this point, even if they didn't do it on purpose, know now. Like,
They don't, because
but
there's a
they,
specific sequence in
but they do.
49. No, because in 49, right, all the three we see when they confront the seal to Heb, whatever.
I'm talking about the dream that Kieran has with like when in 50 where like right before Hayato shows up they're like fucking stop him, don't let him do what he's gonna do because if he does what he's gonna do it's gonna fuck everything up, you know what I mean? Like they know at this point. I'd be inclined to agree with you that they didn't know at the beginning. That seems more likely than all
Oh
four
yeah,
of
they
them
know a lot
coming.
more now. But it's what I was about to say is that if you remember, they're looking at the seal. I think in 49, they're looking at the
Mm-hmm.
seal of And they say and Hiko says that the to CJ, or someone. I can't remember exactly when it was. It was in like the late 40s.
Is this when is this during Lindsay domain expansion? Is this right before
No, I
then?
don't think so. No, I think it might be right before then. Yeah. She says to CJ that the goddesses wanted CJ, but they didn't. They they've got what they wanted, and they think that he's here now, and he's what he is, but that they don't. He's both what they wanted, but not what they expected. If you see what I'm saying, like she says something along those lines, and that to me kind of suggests that even if he was a conscious creation, which is conscious or unconscious, that their control over him was always more like tangential and nudging than it was, because he split, like it's said elsewhere by Hayato at another point, that he is being pulled by all four of the goddesses in different directions, and that's what he doesn't actually, he hasn't fallen under any one of their sways yet, which is what gives him his freedom, which is in direct contradiction to what he says later about him just being a puppet.
Yeah.
So it shows you
I feel
that
like Anon, it's just like, have you ever thought of the idea that Aito was lying? And everybody's like,
yeah,
no
and he
way.
was like 100%. It's like I said, that's why you have to take whilst Hayato is the font of so much information, you cannot take it at face value. Because he will twist any information you have in such ways as to
yeah, no, keep going.
Yeah, as to change things. But yeah, no, this is where Jamie goes to, and she's witnesses the glory.
The glory of sandals.
And poorly drawn cartoon art. And yeah. See, I mean, if you think about all of these lines in the context of what I said earlier about CJ literally not being allowed to have the freedom of thought to think these things through in a normal person would, and then he gradually develops it. As
that way, you know what? Honestly, these sort of lines make me think that Anon's talking to us, but honestly, it would be just really fucking funny, because we don't get very many lines like this anymore where the narrator's talking like this. Is if this was how he has been since he was a kid, and now we break through it later, we just don't see it anymore.
Like, I know it sounds like it's incredibly like, oh, this totally is just a theory that allows for this to be the case in hindsight, and it's just excusing.
Yeah,
like
except
I would totally accept that that's a fair criticism. However, it does fit, and would you really put it past Anon to do something?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like we've been given evidence that this very well could just be the case. Like,
right.
What do I do? I'll talk to Dad. Of course.
Go and talk to Dad. I wonder how often he has. I wonder if he has talked to Dad probably several times even.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't know. I swear I had wanted to ask Anon that question, is before we see at the end of 50, what happens, had he talked to Dad anymore? And or even
the time when he was in America after that first time.
Right? I do wonder about that, because it would be. I feel like he has to have, but I don't know if it was that much.
Yeah, I think he may have been once or twice, but not a huge amount. Although it's interesting that Sarah never saw him, right? So.
Well, she did, but not in the way that CJ. I think she did.
No,
she just didn't.
She said that she sensed him she only sensed him as a ball of power.
Like, yes, but nobody ever, except Jamie here and everybody at the end of 50. Nobody sees
him
as.
And obviously, Jamie at this point doesn't have any powers to be able to see more than what's presented.
Yeah.
But this also just lent to the possibility that CJ, well, not possibility, to the fact that he's coming when CJ calls. Like, CJ comes up here to basically see his dad, and then his dad appears on his timetable. Right?
Yeah. And what's really funny is the rock on top of the school building.
Yes, the rock which just appears on top of the building we have to sit on. The rock that isn't there when we come here to the ceiling in the future.
It's fine. Shh, we're not here to critique.
Hey, Pops.
Mine son.
Mine
to
son.
lay eyes upon thee again so soon is quite the surprise.
Hey, Jenny.
How goes thy conquests?
What the hell is that? I mean, this is like you could have these division in the first time round where CJ's on his own on the beach as being just like in his head,
not.
but
No,
Jamie confirms that something really
course
fucking
not.
weird is going on right now.
I do.
Did
Hold
I
on, we'll talk
not
about it.
tell thee years ago that your self-proclaimed quest was not true to your heart? I should know. I crafted that heart with these 8 fingers of mine. No, my son. The
That makes
answer
me
ye
laugh every
seek
time.
lies in your own hands. All you must do is look down upon them. Look closer. Look closer.
And then we get, of course, the rings. And then Jamie has one, and it's all awesome.
Thy fate is entwined with these 4 and 5. That
Yeah,
was of
right.
your own design.
That was of your
I
own
can
design,
only show thee
That
what
was of
ye
your
can
own
already
design.
see.
and there's Vic's ring
Thy goal
activated.
was noble, yet incomplete. Only you can find the thread of fate that leads from your heart. Only then can you truly save your friends from what's coming.
It's so easily be talking about what's still happening in 50-51 going
Right.
into action.
Indeed, you have already won your first desire. Thy bond with the bearer of that ring's twin is unbreakable. The 2 of you are simply aware of it now. The connection is complete. But you don't want to stop there, do you? Each piece belongs to you. Their whole being is your domain.
And this line,
not
their whole
just
being is
these
your domain, not
scattered
just these scattered fragments.
After all,
She's talking about the goddesses as a whole.
Yeah.
you did this.
You did. Oh my god.
Right?
Damn you, Anon.
Again, why we love going through some of the earlier stuff. It all makes sense. It really does. Because back when I first played this, I was like, cool, don't know what any of that means. Time to move on to stuff that I will understand.
And even when you learn it initially, you would think like, oh, he's just talking about like, the girls.
Yes, yes, of course you do. You're beginning to understand. You're beginning to believe.
That Thunderbolt is a creation of CJ. He might have been gifted with enough knowledge or learned enough on his own.
Truly wish
No
for.
more than CJ does, you know? Maybe Jacob told him, maybe who knows? Keone colored thing and then I'm gonna hum. Yeah,
Wait, that was 8?
yeah, that was 8.
Oh, I thought we were on 7. I think
No,
we were.
we-
I think we were. I think we were.
No, chapter 8 flashed up, but did you not see the transition for chapter?
I may have just been too focused.
CJ getting a baptism of spiritual fire, as it were.
And chapter 9 question mark?
Question mark? You belong to me. You belong to me. You belong to me.
You belong to me.
I mean, bear in mind that before the prologue, this is where things officially went to what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And this is where we get our first interaction with the goddesses, as from our perspective.
Well, that's Sarah right there.
Yes, but the voice before the sobbing, that was Keone, and that's Jamie. It appears that summoning him, his creation. Oh, and there's Crow. Darling.
Canadian.
Crow's Canadian?
Crow's Canadian confirmed?
Crow's a Canadian confirmed.
Son of a bitch.
It's the bastard himself. I see you there. Oh, how loaded is this question in light of where we're at now? Do you like being a season?
I do. Okay, I know these are not supposed to be taken seriously whenever he shows up, but I do wonder if they're legitimately canon or not. Because CJ does seem to interact with them at the later ones. Like,
yes, it's interesting that he can't interact with them early on, but as he gains more independence in the narrative,
he's like, don't you fucking say anything.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Really makes you think.
Really makes you think.
How long have I been here? My name is CJ. I remember that much. And there's, of course, Anya trying to reach him.
Jay? CJ?
Can you hear me?
It would have been really funny if it was like the end of Jacob or something instead of that Jay.
Maybe a little too on the nose.
Right, it would have been, maybe.
Mind you, we do get that line earlier where Leia outright mistakes someone like for Sarah.
Yeah, mistakes Kieran for Sarah. Yeah.
And it's just like, okay.
Again, looking at it now, you're like, oh my god, it all made sense. But we had been led up to believe that, they were sisters. Them being sisters in the same person is not too much of a jump. We were on the right track. We just didn't know. I don't think we have to be too hard on ourselves for that one.
But it's interesting. This is the place he first ends up.
Well, because this will be the place I think he ends up making the house in the beach and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, the house, which it turns out was the house that Jacob was brought up in, and Cameron and Rebecca lived in, and it's the same location. And he apparently moved into it within hours, if not days, of the events we see at the end
by
of 51.
Who the fuck knows?
Probably Sonya and Stacy.
Yeah, no, that's the leading theory, because she's the only one that has any connection to the Americas.
Well, in theory, it could also be Hayato even.
Yeah, but at that point, Hayato wanted to kill CJ before then, so I mean,
yeah, true.
He didn't have this whole fucking epiphany of like, oh wait a minute, I'm stupid, I shouldn't kill him. I
meant more in the sense that he might have brought it up in his research into Jacob and all that, and Cameron and all that. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And then it was just left empty.
But for that many, yeah.
I mean, he was dead, and he's the charge of his company was one of the largest in the world. One random property in LA, even one as nice as that, isn't going to like trouble the books at all. Especially if he took pains to hide it.
Right. I mean, I guess maybe it doesn't really matter realistically, but they had to have been, yeah, it could have been Hayato, I guess.
I mean, it's still far more likely that it was Sonya. You took the form? Yeah, it is interesting that his spiritual form has long hair. Which apparently makes him look more like Old Glory. Which is also interesting.
I mean, from what we can tell, he looks just like Old Glory. I mean,
yeah. Which, like I said, it is just interesting that's the look of Old Glory.
well, it would make sense if he's created to be the ideal image of the Four.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
The original, right?
Fits, right? Exactly. He looks and feels exactly like the Old Glory. But then we kind of run into a Ship of Theseus problem, right? If he is made to be exactly like Old Glory.
I find it interesting that Sarah's able to create. She's not able to create a full thing, she says here, but it's just an illusion.
Yeah, I mean, she does have some power. Especially on the other side, one would presume. She doesn't expend all of her power until she punches Crow in the future, at this point. So.
Oh, look at the color!
Yeah.
There's no way. There's
red,
no way.
and there's some blue ring around
There's
it
no
as well.
fucking way it was there the whole this time, guys. Ugh.
Don't forget that Crow's power also manifests as looking
It's
like a sun.
so clear.
Just like that.
Oh my god.
Are you losing your mind a little bit right now?
No,
You're
I'm
losing
just
it.
like, I attributed these things as to like artistic choice, and like that's how Anon was doing it in the beginning, and then it became really, really, really consistent as we went through. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, it all was fucking intentional. God, I hate it. God, I hate it. Because it's like, oh yeah, she was red. I wonder why she was. A little bit of blue in there. Weird. And then you see her as pure blue later, you know? And then you could probably like attribute that to like, oh, but they have a, CJ and her connect, so that's why she looks like that now. And I'm just like, you have no idea.
Layers within layers within layers.
Oh my god.
If you go back one,
Well, yeah.
look at the starfish on the right hand side and the colours they're giving you.
You mean
The red and the green. What shard does she hijack?
red and green? What are you talking
Blowing off of the rock to the top right of CJ's head.
Oh. I mean, yes. Yeah, I guess.
I just added to your paranoia, honestly. That's good, guys.
I'm like, it's only paranoia to make sense, okay? It's like,
Okay,
there's
alright,
no
that's fine.
reason for Sarah to be red right here, other than from what we know, at all.
Sure. I'm not leaving my friends again. All their incarnations, oh boy.
Most people only have one.
That's the soulmates thing, right? So it's just saying
Right.
soulmate.
So, yeah, I guess that's just what that...
And there's no guarantee that you'll meet your soulmate and find them, because Alan, I think, only met like the Keone shard of his world once, he said, in a dream.
And then the Leah shard or the Carpo shard.
So I mean, it's likely that Keone killed her shard in that world. And then, yeah.
Poor...
It's probably also his...
Oh.
I mean, that's the first thing she does, right? She kills her own shard.
Look, CJ is really consistent. I love that about him. It's just, I don't know what I would do without them. I wouldn't want to even be a god if we couldn't be together anymore, right? I mean, he's very consistent. That's literally what we've been talking about in the most recent chapters of like, you know?
Yeah, see, I had a conversation about this with someone in spoilers chat not long ago. How CJ has to ask for this help to come back, and I'm pretty sure that he only needs the help to come back initially. But
Well,
Vic
I
keeps
do
inheriting the
think-
memories of when he does, so maybe she.
I do wonder. I do think it's interesting that she says you have to be invited back, right? That to me, because obviously.
Well, no, you have to be invited into the soul, which is what then used to draw you back. So there is a nuance there of difference.
Yeah, I do wonder if that'll come come along when we eventually get our solo CJ arc with like you have to want to come back, or they have to want you to come to them, or whatever the vice versa is. Because I assume it works both ways with them coming to CJ. And
I mean, they had their rings are for CJ as much as his rings are for them. So.
Something. Is it really you? What the fuck?
Well, that's the only thing that this soundtrack is used almost exclusively for Hayato and occasionally Sukiko going forwards.
Well,
but this isn't that.
I think it really represents. I mean, sure. To me, it really feels like the void. You know, it's like the. You know,
yeah.
Hayato split across everything. He's not real anymore. You know, and of course, Kyon embodies the wholeness of the end, the void, the nothingness, the whatever. It kind of just has
Entropy,
the same vibe.
yes, the end of all things. Is that what I look like to you?
Right, I do feel like, yeah, because he never says her name, and he's like, I feel like she could have made it a little bit more obvious, but it doesn't matter.
Well, I think she assumed that he could see who it was, which is why he didn't ask. Have I ever been able to hear my own thoughts like this? You realize he says that when he's inside Lindsay's
domain.
Lindsay's little domain expansion.
I guess I do think of this moment a lot, don't I?
Yeah.
Poor fucking CJ, man. Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is where his mom basically kicks him out.
Mm-hmm. Although I do really find it interesting that even in his memory, she's like really nice right now. That's not how.
Maybe she even was, because she seemed happy to be getting rid of him.
She didn't say it like that.
Yeah, it's Keanu.
Oh, funny story. He doesn't listen to these, so I can say this. So when I got my best friend into Oot, he's a big fan of like horror stuff, but he's not like he can legitimately be scared. He was really he loved these beginning scenes with the hallways and Kyon and shit like that. They got him really hooked on Oot. So fucking yeah, because it was pretty creepy.
Crow calling him a dumbass.
Well, that sounds more like Kieran to me.
Well, at this point, there's no difference.
Right.
Kieran, as we know her, doesn't exist yet.
Right.
She only comes into existence after.
Please, I'm so sorry. No!
Guess who, and who else has been saying sorry so much lately? I'm so sorry, she says to CJ over and over. Crying. I'm so sorry, CJ. I did awful things to you, CJ. Huh. Hello, Keanu.
Huh. It's so funny people didn't realize that she looks like Meg. I was like,
I mean, it goes to show you just what makeup and different clothes does, dude.
I think very clearly Carissa and Uxo look the most
They look the most similar. Like, the only major difference, the only thing that really throws you off with them is that Teresa is a couple of shades darker, right? In terms of
I mean, dude, outfit change will do that too. You're like, oh,
true. Oh, isn't that sweet? And here's our girl.
Oh.
Hello, Crow. She's a bit more hostile to him here, and I do wonder if it's low-key the resentment she feels. And she does kind of show towards him a few times of, like, how long he's been away, that he's not really her. But at the same time, he is. And just how messed up
Use that ugly ring of yours.
Only one of us is going to enjoy it. You caused this. You're the only reason. Was she, though? Was she really?
I mean, of course, and then Crow's like, I'd do it again.
Fucking Chaos Gremlin. I would do it again!
Right.
First time taking his stance. Ah.
We're so back, baby.
We're so
Literally,
back.
we're going back.
The most back we could possibly be. But it's interesting that he comes here.
Yeah,
place
this is where.
Right, this here, which is different.
Wait,
like,
where am I now? I didn't do this. It's pretty nice though. Whose world is this?
It's fucking Jacob's world. I mean, Jamie, god damn it, she's so fucking precious. This is actually one of my favorite looks for her with this set, with her clothes and this. Like, she is so goddamn like cute.
And then CJ immediately denying, like, okay, clearly this is still not real. Because Jamie looks like a girl right now.
Gay panic. Yeah, this would appear to be Vic's realm.
Yeah, because she shows up here quite a few times, right?
Yeah, this is Vic's
arc
realm
as well.
This is Vic's realm, and then because you could, the big difference with this and the previous one is that this is the realm, is the sky being black, and there's no, which fits, right? It's the void, and then she's like part like subject to it. It's above.
Oh, that's interesting. So Jamie was here.
Yeah, Jamie briefly pops up because she's connected to both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's
Yeah, she briefly sees Jamie, which we see later on from, I want to say from Jamie's perspective, or from Vic's perspective? Someone's. Come home, CJ. So my guess is that because CJ uses Victoria to get back that first time, she's the one who gets his memories when he comes back, because she acts as his spiritual.
Well, yeah, she's the...
Even when she's
like
spiritually present with him.
Like, of course, all of his connections are extremely important. They all fit together. But because she was the first, I mean, she's literally the anchor. And it fits her role with her being the void. Like, you know...
Well, the way I suggested it was that she can pull him to her because she's the one of the few... Because she's a black hole, right? She's often referenced as being basically like a spiritual black hole, drawing in and accepting everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas CJ is the sun, constantly pushing outwards. So by being a black hole, she can absorb anything he throws out, and it doesn't push her away. Yeah. Is the way my logic, and therefore she can draw him in and draw him to her. Also, in a slightly less like happy representation.
Interesting
of it.
that seems like whatever way we want to spin Ashley's power is she has the ability to bring CJ to her as well. Yes,
but that's slightly different.
Yeah,
Victoria's is like Yone's is just a natural pull, right? It's like it's inevitable. It's like that, but it's not based on a conscious act in the same way that.
No, we knew Vic was Thanos.
Right. Come on, answer. Is Jeremy with you? I had the worst dream. And then, like, he's like, oh, there's nothing terrible. I needed to hear your voice. We're fine. And then, thanks to you. What? Like, imagine just having a vivid dream, waking up, and then being told, yeah, no, the dream was basically, like, the dream is real. Thank you for saving our lives.
Yep, and I think that is a good place to end it off. We'll do a little bit of a shorter episode. We've gone about an hour and 30 minutes. You know, we'll let you not have to feast on 2
because somebody
hours.
wants to go play golf, so, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry for having friends and participating.
Oh, gosh. You know why I can't play golf, man. It's a cultural thing.
It's not. You literally can just come play with us.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just not interested in actually playing it. I prefer to watch you guys play.
He just doesn't like us, guys. You're
no, I like watching you tear each other apart. Like, you turn into a pack of rabid
animals.
Ladies
and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching.
Yes,
this
thank you for joining us. I hope my new mic was an improvement over the last one.
It definitely
by the
is.
Very kind and generous gifting of Chain and Heat and Techno. They enabled me to be able to come through to you with far greater and improved vocals.
And don't worry, if you want to give me money for Rayze, he needs it. So please
I will
let me
fucking
know.
kill you.
Thank you all for listening to this episode. I'm sure we'll come out with some new ones sooner rather
Yeah,
than later.
and we promise we'll get more plot relevant and focused on these chapters as we get into the meat of the plot. But
Well,
yeah, we're going to keep
not
it
a
light
whole
for
lot
now.
to, talk
Yeah,
about.
it's fairly light for now. Yeah. But we're going to get into Crow's first arc here, so we'll see how it goes.
Yep, first of many. All right, thank y'all.
It's all Crow.
It always has been.
Always has been.